Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 41 of Music is None of Our Business. And after the last episode on 1980, we're going for 1981.
Classic
Hey!
year. Classic year.
A classic year. Yes. There were some fucking brilliant records out this year. And again, so we would have been 15
16.
stroke 16 this year. Yeah. So it was leaving school. In fact, I was just saying to Jake, we're in the process of arranging a school reunion for 45 years since we left school, which is going to be mad. Apparently, loads of people have died. I didn't fucking know.
A friend of mine died just last week.
Oh, really? Oh, fucking hell.
It's not terribly uncommon when you get to our age that people fall by the wayside, is it?
Well, it's not, no. But I mean, to be honest, I'm not really close with that many people from school. There's a few I've got in touch with just recently. Mainly for this, or someone I've chatted with for a while. But I haven't really had anyone close to me die for a long while, which is really good. Really good, because I hate having to confront my own mortality. It always puts me on a downward spiral. Oh, I'm going to die. Fucking hell, I've forgotten. It's like, I don't want to. I might miss something.
That's our only defense mechanism, just to forget about it, because there's nothing else you can do.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And, I don't really want to leap into that eternal void just yet. I don't know what's going to happen in the next era of Reacher yet, for God's sake. It's a fucking nightmare. So, yes, but it was a great year. I've got a massive fucking list here, and kind of I've kept it to, as I said on the last episode. Things I, rather than kind of look back fondly on which is easily done, and which I still do. I've picked records I listened to a lot that year, and I know that at least one of them I'm going to duplicate. So I will try and kind of approach it from a different angle.
Well, you're going to duplicate it tonight?
It's one we've done before.
Oh, well, yes. Okay, well, it is a duplicate. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I can't, in all honesty, there's a couple and I just can't leave them out, because for that year, they were vitally important to me for varying reasons. So there you go. So I don't.
It is hard. I mean, there's a lot of bands we've talked about before we were really involved with then, weren't we? They were
absolutely
releasing records that we were listening to over and over and over again, going to the concerts, talking about them, and so on.
Yeah, I was talking to Annie. I dropped Annie at work earlier on, and Annie being my daughter, if not just some random person, and we were talking about physical media, because and how CDs and tapes as well as vinyl are making a bit of a comeback now.
CDs,
and I think it's
CDs making a comeback.
Yes, CDs are making a comeback. Yeah, and I think it's that tactile thing. It's just having something in your hands, because I think Spotify and MP3s and however you stream your music is so impersonal, and I don't think you develop a bond with the records that you did because you don't listen to it in sequence. You don't listen to it. You kind of identify with tracks these days, rather than the whole LP, which is a shame, really.
Well, I don't really listen to streaming at all. The only streaming I've got one playlist on Spotify, which is just a mixture of summer driving music, so that I can just drive and have summery music on. But that's the only streaming I do.
Well, the only reason you got Spotify streamed is because you're on my fucking account.
That's right. I wouldn't have it. I wouldn't have it otherwise.
Because I added you to it for the podcast.
Yeah, I still wouldn't have it otherwise.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not a massive fan of it, but it just fills a gap, really. It's just the simplicity of it. I think that I go for it more than anything. I much prefer playing records and CDs and tapes.
Yeah.
And in fact, I've been playing CDs all bloody. I've rediscovered a Asian Dub Foundation CD. I haven't played in ages. I've been banging the shit out of that this week. That'll be on my list at the end of the show.
Well, I've been rummaging through my cassettes and finding records that I didn't even remember I'd got on cassette, and playing a lot of those. And it is a bit of a pain going back to that kind of process where you can't skip from one track to the other. You can't find the track you're looking for. You got to turn the tape over and rewind it and all of that kind of stuff. So the mechanics of it, which used to be perfectly tolerable back in the day, you kind of get used to not having to faff around like that.
Well, weirdly on streaming, I never skip tracks.
Right.
I just can't. I can't bear to, because even if it's a shit track coming up, I'll still listen to it because that's how the album should be. And that's I'm a bit of a.
That's finishing a book that's shit.
That's probably part
shit.
part masochism, part purist, and part ADHD. That is, it's all kind of a mixture.
One of the nice things of going through the old cassettes is a lot of the cassettes that I recorded from John Peel's show, I've kept all of his commentary in and so on. So it's almost sitting in the evening, it's almost like listening to his show again, and it's marvellous.
There's a great big archive somewhere, possibly on SoundCloud of John Peel shows.
Yeah.
Because I've listened to them now and again because I miss him.
Yeah,
I don't know him, but it was. I mean, when he died, it was like losing a member of your family, wasn't it?
I met him once.
I never got to speak to him. I was in his vicinity several times.
Okay. And then the court order.
Well, funnily enough, I did meet him. We entered a competition to go and see a live Peel session, and we went down to Maida Vale and saw Angela Norris for the Trail of Dead do a live session. And we met them, and then John Peel coming on. We all met John Peel, so I did meet him. And then a couple of times he'd often pop in at the junction in Cambridge.
Right.
And I remember going to see Pavement there, and John Peel just wanders in, stands there, watches the kids. Like, fucking hell, it's like being in church and fucking Jesus walks in. It's just amazing. It was Oh, John Peel.
Yeah.
What do you say to him though? It's so tricky, isn't it? It's like.
Well, I had an easy one because when I met him...
I mean, John Peel, not Jesus.
Yeah. I met him at an Atari Teenage Riot gig, and it was only a few weeks after we'd played a 12-inch single that I'd released through Pi Recordings. And I said to him, you played my record. That was very good of you. And he just said, oh, what was that? And I told him, he said, well, the check's in the post. And I thought, well, we shall see.
Oh, brilliant. Right, okay. Well, let's get on with recording this particular episode. Do you want to go first? Because I went first last time, so off you go.
Okay. The first one that I've got is going to take half the podcast just to read the title of the song of the album, because the album was called "The 150 Murderous Passions, or Those Belonging to the Fourth Class, Composing the 28 Days of February Spent in Hearing the Narration of Madame de Grange, interspersed amongst which are the scandalous doings at the chateau during that month." That's what it's called.
I know that title. Who is it?
It's by the 150 Murderous Passions, which is William Bennett of White House and Steve Stapleton of Nurse with Wound and Current 93.
So basically it goes...
It's awesome. It's a truly awesome record. It's another one of those artistic references to the Marquis de Sade and the 120 Days of Sodom, which is an incredibly popular subject in art.
Or as the youngsters call them these days, the Marquis de Sade.
Yes. I did a quick search on lyrics.com, and there are 3,705 songs with lyrics referencing the Marquis de Sade. That's a lot. That's a lot. There's even a French band called the Marquis de Sade, which is a bit on the nose, a little bit unsubtle. So this record, as I say, I mean, Nurse with Wound and White House, it's going to be an overwhelming electronic noise.
So I was spot on, basically.
It is, but it's incredible. It's much more sophisticated than White House, but it is more brutal than Nurse with Wound. It fits in the
Christ,
middle.
I've done farts that are more sophisticated than White House.
Yes, indeed. The interesting thing is this Madame de Grange of the title, she was one of the 4 debauchees at the chateau in Salo. And we talked about Salo when I was talking about the soundtrack a little while ago. And the Marquis describes de Grange. He says, she is 56, pale and emaciated, with dead eyes, whose anus is so enlarged she does not feel anything there. She's missing 1 nipple, 3 fingers, 6 teeth, and 1 eye. She is witty, a murderer, rapist, and general criminal. So quite the catch.
Yeah. Fucking hell. Well, if I saw her on Bumble, I'd be straight in there.
Anyway, so this record, it was released on William Bennett's own label at the time, the Cum Organisation, which folded in 1985, and then he launched a new label, which was brilliantly called Susan Lawley, which is a power electronics label, which is so funny.
Susan Lawley being the newsreader,
indeed,
from Nationwide.
BBC. Was she on BBC or YTV?
I think she was BBC. Yeah, she used to be on Nationwide with
Frank Boff.
Michael Barrett. No, Michael Barrett first.
Yeah.
Because Nationwide did a punk expose, didn't they?
Oh,
back in 76 or 77. Yeah, available on YouTube, I think.
Oh, right, okay.
Which was quite amusing. You know, oh my God, it's the world. These punk rockers with their safety pins. Fucking hell. It's like, yeah, fuck off.
But you're right. Susan Lawley was she gave the impression of being very straight laced, very establishment.
Yeah. No enormous anus there.
Anyway, this record is just 2 tracks. The first piece, part 1, is just under 12 minutes.
I can't believe you actually had to say the first part was called part 1.
Did I say that?
You said the first part 1. No, really? Fucking hell. Who saw that coming?
Well, what it is,
they just did that to confuse us, didn't they?
I did. The first part is just ribbons of screaming high frequency, which are twisting and coiling around your head, icy tendrils of sound which reach into your head, and it's like glass, it's like acid.
You can't beat an icy tendril.
It's brilliant. It spears your brain, and there's some arrhythmic metallic clattering buried in these sheets of electronics, and it's perfectly accompanied by Bennett's distorted shouting and screaming. They're not even words, really. It's just so distorted. Everything's overloaded, and it's just a transformative experience. It could easily break your mind, but it's beautiful in its terrifying sound and structure. The second part is more restrained. There's distant, indistinct sounds. It's organic. There's some looped stuff going on. Waves of feedback and deep human noises. There's some cut up bits of voice, which I think is Stapleton's voice, and halfway through there's a jackhammer solo, and that dissolves into grainy grey distant noise, a clanging bell, and it sounds like you know one of Hieronymus Bosch's triptychs is talking to you. It's like you're standing at the edge of hell and hearing it. And there was shouting, and it's all fucking torment, really. But it gets really, really creepy at the end. And the shouting and the drilling noises, I'm sure that if you played it loud, you would have the police outside your door, because people would think there's some kind of murder or something going on. It's extremely draining, but it is incredible. It is so ferocious. Much more so. I mean, when I saw White House, I think we mentioned it before. That was just a sonic assault. It wasn't like it was even rock music loud. It was beyond that. It was like provocation. It was torture. But that's what White House were about. And this is very similar. It's provocation because the themes are quite offensive. The sound is just, can you stand this? Can you tolerate this? But it's an amazing listening experience. I love it.
Well, you've sold me. You had me at the enormous anus, obviously. But it's just...
Oh dear. Great stuff.
Yeah, I'll bet that fucker's not on Spotify.
I doubt it. I haven't looked.
Oh dear. Brilliant. Yeah, okay. Well, God, how do I follow that? Head of Heart. Well, my next one is All Kinds of Everything by Dana. Well, my first one, 1981, is one. As I said, I've picked this before, but a long, long while ago. But I just couldn't leave it out because it was quite a fundamental record in my music journey. It's "Living in Darkness" by Agent Orange.
Okay.
And was kind of, I mean, it's not quite hardcore, but it's it's a US punk. They were more surf punk. And I think 81 was the year we kind of discovered a few more American hardcore bands. I mean, Black Flag, I think, had a single out. Was it Six Pack that year? On because Alternative Tentacles released it. Yeah. But Agent Orange I absolutely loved this album. I bought the single "Everything Turns Grey" from Keith. I think it was in the punk box, and I took it home, and it was fucking amazing record. They had this real kind of, I mean, it was definitely punk. There were elements of hardcore in there, but they had this surf twang to a lot of it as well.
It's quite popular sound in American punk, wasn't it?
Because I think because Dead Kennedys had a real surfiness to them, didn't they?
Yeah.
East Bay Ray's guitar had a proper 60s down to it, on a lot of their stuff. And then Agent Orange was in fact, Agent Orange covered quite a lot of surf classics, Pipeline, Miser Lou. They did some old later on they did some old TV themes. Mr. Moto, I think that was kind of a twangy, surfy type TV theme. But this LP was just it was just something else. It was very, very melodic, and just had some great singles on it. Everything Turns Grey, great songs on it. Everything Turns Grey is just an absolute classic. That was followed by Miser Lou, their cover, and then Last Goodbye, No Such Thing, A Cry for Help in a World Gone Mad, and they were great. And then this kind of proper hardcore Bloodstains, which I believe had been their first single as well, and then finishing it with Living in Darkness, the title track. And like I say, totally melodic. They were great musicians as well. Originally had Steve Soto in there, who went on to the Adolescents, and who were a great band. I'm pretty sure they're playing a gig in London.
Yeah, right.
Tomorrow. They're still going, yeah. But Mike Palm was the leader, guitar and vocals. He was like the ever present. And I was that enamored with them. I actually wrote a fan letter, and I never wrote fan letters. I wrote a fan letter to them.
I love you.
I think you're great. I really do. You're brilliant. Please come to England, and all that kind of thing. And I got that. I mean, they sent me back a newsletter, and that Christmas I got a Christmas card as well, signed by the band, which I've still got somewhere.
Yeah.
And they were great. And at that time, they were releasing records on Posh Boy, which was a West Coast punk label that I think Social Distortion started on Posh Boy as well.
Okay.
And they did a load of Rodney on the Rock compilation LPs as well. That Keith got a couple of them in for me as well. And that was kind of opened up my eyes to a load more American hardcore bands.
Right.
And I think that was the major importance of Agent Orange, was that you realised there was these great records coming from America, and you could get hold of them because Keith, like we've said previously, was fucking brilliant. He'd get anything for you, couldn't he?
He could.
You'd go, oh, can you get me, blah blah blah. Yeah, no problem. He got me a first MDC LP.
Right.
What was the other one he got? Oh, I can't remember. There was another really obscure one. He just said, "Oh, can you get that?" Yeah. And within a week, he's got a fucking copy of it for you. Yeah, and I think I'm pretty sure I probably mentioned this last time as well. Agent Orange are still going,
Mm.
and in fact, I did mention it because they played Peterborough, and I just couldn't bring myself to go just in case they were shit because I
Yeah,
loved
you
that
said.
record so much, and I just didn't want it to be crap, and I thought it would be. But yeah, but they went on. They released several, good LPs after this. Nothing quite as good as the debut. But yeah, so that was a big part of 1981 for me. Agent Orange, Living in Darkness.
Mm.
So there you go.
Excellent, excellent.
No songs about enormous anuses or anything. So
No fans of Agent Orange in Hanoi. Okay.
dear, oh dear.
Okay, well, you said there were some incredible punk records delivered in 1981. I won't list them because there's a good chance that you'll have some in your list. But it's hard to choose.
I avoided punk.
Did you?
I avoided punk because I knew you'd. I was pretty sure you'd pick them.
That's
I was
weird.
pretty sure you'd have at least two punk LPs in there.
Well, that's a bit crazy because one of the
Yeah.
biggest parts of our musical life, at one of the biggest moments, we might have mutually avoided to some degree. Then,
Oh,
never mind. I've got one here because there was a lot. There was D Beat and there was the Dead Kennedys and all these bands happening. But there was one band in particular that had a sound of their own and had a style, or the singer had a style that became one of the most enduring of punk's stylistic trappings. And it was Watty, Scotland's The Exploited.
on my list.
Is it?
On my list. On my secondary
Oh,
list.
right, okay.
Yeah. I knew you'd fucking pick it. I knew you'd pick it. Oh, you ken the cunts there, pimps that dude.
He was very Scottish. Well, he is very
He was
Scottish.
very
isn't he?
Scottish. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. But again, my encounter first with The Exploited was Keith's Punk Box, Dogs of War single. Fucking hell, this is brilliant.
Right.
This
Yeah.
is brilliant.
Army Life was my first.
Yeah, they were some great singles. I mean, seeing them do Dead Cities on Top of the Pops was an absolute highlight because that was just so incongruous, but it was fantastic.
So I can remember a few years ago, I took Annie we had to go and do some shopping. I took Annie to Tesco's and I was playing Exploited in the car.
Okay.
And she spent the whole hour in Tesco's singing Exploited,
Barmy Army.
Exploited. I've never been so proud of her. Fucking brilliant.
Dear. Yes. Well, Watty, this stylistic trapping, he was the first of the punks who came out with a mohawk haircut. We called it Mohican at the time, which was wrong, but it's a mohawk, and he had a bright red mohawk. And suddenly they began to proliferate at punk gigs everywhere you went. Indeed, for a year or two,
proliferated on your end as well, didn't it? Yeah.
It did.
I remember that when you had hair.
When I had hair at some point in the dim and distant past, yes, I had a mohawk myself, a very impressive mohawk, which was sometimes red and sometimes blue and sometimes a bit stripy. And the whole
didn't Jackie have a double mohawk at one point?
Well, not exactly. No, well, not when I knew her anyway. She did have it shaved quite high at the sides and then swept up each side absolutely vertically.
Right.
But
Yeah.
there wasn't a kind of shaved or reduced area in the middle. So maybe that's what you remember. But she became an expert in it, really, because the process of putting them together, not just the cut and the dyeing, but the back combing and then the copious amounts of Boots non-perfumed hairspray under the hairdryer. You could go.
I bet you were as flammable as fuck.
Absolutely flammable, yeah. But you could go to bed or crash out at the end of a gig or whatever, and get up and it just go doing straight back up again.
Yeah, that's fucking hell. There's not many things that go bedoing straight up the airways
Not
now,
much
is there?
bedoying,
Fucking
no.
hell.
No. But yeah, you had American tourists taking bloody photographs of it, and it was all good. It was all good. But The Exploited as a band, they were what I'd call a brutal punk band because there were all different kinds of punk. Like there is metal and dance. It's easy from a distance to say, well, punk is punk. Well, for us, it certainly wasn't. And there were whole different types of punk. And the Exploited were a very brutal kind of punk. The Anarcho bands had a distinctive sound, and the guitars were razor sharp and noisy and clattering. There was a lot of experimentalism and very much over politicism. Whereas you got bands like GBH and the Verucas and the Exploited, who had a much more muscular sound, much more punch, less experimentation, and a lot lighter on ideology. I mean, these bands were singing about getting drunk and girls and big women and all kinds of stuff. They were a million miles away from anarchy, peace, and freedom. But it was great, fucking brilliant. And you know, the whole style of it has just carried them for years and years and years. Wattie has had 5 heart attacks now,
think so, yeah.
a bypass.
At least one of those on stage, wasn't
Yes, indeed. And he carries on. He's the only one that's left, but he carries on, and he carries on. And he whatever you think of the things he said and the way he's been, you got to admire the fact that he's lived it and he's stuck to it.
Oh, yeah.
And all the punks that kind of went on to be accountants or sold out to become chart toppers or whatever, he's stayed Wattie, and he's exactly the same guy. I think the only thing for me with Wattie that I did find a bit frustrating was he'd spend a lot of time attacking other punks. So he would have a lot of vitriol for Crass and the Anarcho punks. He'd have a lot of vitriol for the Clash and anybody else he thought was being a little bit too commercial. And I thought, I didn't think it was a very positive thing to do. But the album that they released in 1981, obviously, was Punk's Not Dead, and it was
Punk's Not Dead,
full of stonking stuff, full of stonking, hardcore, solid, muscular music, including, as you quite properly said, Exploited Barmy Army, the thundering rumble of Exploited Barmy Army, which one band I was in marching orders, the infamous marching orders, that only ever played in one pub several times. We had a track called Red Lion Army, which was essentially the same as Exploited Barmy Army, but we were the Red Lion Army. Best track on the album, Royalty. Staccato bursts of snare, just tumble into these pummeling toms, and Wattie launches into a very thick Scottish tirade about how the Queen is a dirty little bitch, a fucking little cow. He wasn't a big fan. But
he wasn't, was he? No.
But it wasn't sophisticated again. But, a lot of us could see reflected in those very earthy lyrics, the kind of sentiments that we had as well. So there they go. Wattie continues to plough his own furrow in life, despite all of the setbacks he's had. The Exploited were a fantastic band that blazed out, I think, pretty quickly. I don't think much that came after it it wasn't much to my taste that came after it. And that may be because I got more into the Anarcho stuff or the electronics noise or whatever. I don't know, but it didn't just grab me in the way that the first few records did. I never did see them live, which is bizarre looking back, really.
No, they played Bedford last year. I was so tempted to go, but it was one of those ones that I'd have had to drive, and I just didn't want to go.
Right.
I just want to go on my own. I couldn't be asked.
Yeah. They still turn up at holidays in the sun or whatever it's called now. Revolution on Earth, the big punk gathering in Blackpool every year. He still turns up, I think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he does. Well, they all do, don't they? I think
all that can drag themselves there. Yeah,
I know what you mean. The punk in 81, that second wave, kind of, I enjoyed it, but I don't. There was no longevity to it. I mean, there's very few records from that time that I listen to now and go, that I listen to now.
Oh, right.
To be honest,
okay.
Occasionally I've got a couple of those Cherry Red compilations where they did by year and they did the singles. They were really fucking good. They were. Yeah. But mainly for just for a bit of a nostalgia, really.
Okay.
I couldn't really say. Probably Test Tube Babies. I'd probably listen to them, although they may have been a year later. But all the No Future stuff that will be coming up probably next year, 82, I would think. Yeah. It was great, but like I say, there's very, very few records that I go back to now.
Okay. I can still really enjoy it again.
The Anarchy, the Crash stuff, I love. Yeah. I still listen to that, and In fact, and obviously Discharge and all the D beat stuff.
Yeah.
But it was all a bit like, you know, it's like I said before, it was like this parade of kind of singular name band members who are either called Col, you know,
Kev.
Tim, Kev, or you know, Baz, or they'd be called like Snot, Bogey, Scum, Smeg, or something. You know, it's like fucking hell. It was just all so anonymous. I think.
Yeah.
It was just this kind of just this parade of haircuts. And
no, I
you
thought
know,
it was great. I thought there was more to it than that. It wasn't as deep as the Anarchist stuff, certainly.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved that then, and I still love that now. But I can still really enjoy GBH and Verucas and stuff. It's just
well, see GBH. Well, see those bands, I'd put them more on the D beat side.
No, they weren't that fast, really.
But well, GBH.
They could be at times.
GBH were.
No, well, I mean, it's a matter of subjectivity to some
For
degree.
instance, the Destructors.
Yeah.
You know, I could all I remember about the Destructors is that fucking drum beat. They went. It's like fuck off.
And it always sounded so tinny. Then
it was also tinny and so. You know, and that was it. And I think the thing with the D beat and the noisier, you know, like the GBH and the other Clay bands and that, there was some substance to that.
Yeah, it's really punchy.
You know,
great production.
I mean, having said that, I mean, I listened to Blitz the other day, and early Blitz was like, it's all right. I loved it then, but you know, when I look back on it, there's other punk that I'd listened to before I listened to that.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not in a derogatory way. It's just in a kind of a, you know, it just doesn't float my boat anymore. You know, it hasn't got that oomph. You know, I mean, even the Crass stuff, when they remastered the Crass LPs, fucking hell, you know, they were proper powerful.
Yeah.
You know, and back then that you could have kind of listened to that and thought, well, there's not that much to it, you know, but there's a lot more to it. You know, and I'm really glad they remastered it because it brought it all out, and you could go, you know, they were a fucking good heavy band.
They were good. I mean, it brought a lot of the lower mid frequencies out that you would hear at concerts, but they just didn't have the production. They just didn't get it onto record. But even with the classical collection and the remasters and the remixing and so on, didn't have that punch. That really solid kick drum and the really taut bass that GBH did or the Exploited did. They had depth on their records. They had the great production, and they had, well, I can't speak about Exploited, but GBH, they had depth live as well. I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen the other. I think at the end of the day they were different. It was all under the punk banner, but they were quite different. That GBH, Verucas, Crongen, Antipasti, and all of that lot were different to Dirt and Crass and Disorder and so on. And that was different to the D-Beat, I think, as well.
Yeah, and a lot of those punk bands, I think, were more singles bands than album bands, really. Yeah. You know, because you can remember the singles, and I could sing along to them. But then when it comes to album tracks, it's like, you know. I mean, even fucking GBH were a bit guilty of that. Some of their album tracks, the Bell End Bop, fucking hell, they were dreadful. Yeah,
there was some,
dreadful.
I mean, that was the thing. I think bands like GBH were more, we're going to have a great laugh, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to make some noise, and everybody's going to spit, and everybody's going to stage drive, and it's going to be great. Yeah. Whereas your Crass and your Discharge and those kind of bands, well, we've got a message. Yeah, we're going to message, and we're going to make sure you get it.
Yeah. Yeah, cool.
So that's Exploited.
Yes, awesome. Okay, my next one is Computer World. Fucking hell. How fen was that? Oh my god. Computer World by Kraftwerk. And I included this because it is a fantastic album. But the other reason is because it always reminds me of 1981 was the year we left school, and we did one last school trip, and we went to Germany for a week and stayed in a place called Koblenz, I think, or near Koblenz, and I came home with so many fucking Kraftwerk records and tapes. Some of which have been purloined because security in German record shops at that time was very lax,
Ah,
and us being 16, we're just nicking everything we could lay our hands on. And I came home with a copy of Computer World, or I came home with a copy of Computerwelt. Because the great thing about Kraftwerk records in Germany was they were all in German. And you know, everywhere else they were released and mainly in English. It was such a novelty to have them in the original language. So I came home with Radioaktivitat, and I came home with Die Menschmaschine and a copy of Computerwelt, and I think there were the three I got. I think I came home with a couple of 12-inch singles as well of it's fucking Neon Licht, would it be?
yeah, yeah.
And Das Model, and another one I can't remember what they were. Yeah, so as well as lots and lots of German versions of English punk, you know, with different sleeves and, you know, anything I could lay my hands on. Really, I spent most of the trip in fucking record shops. As I saw, and I was, yeah, nicking and buying. So yes, I came home with like a case full of 12 inches, 7 inches, and cassettes. And Computer World is one of, I don't know. Do you know? I don't really have favorite. I love all Kraftwerk albums equally, I think. And my favorite would change from one week to the other. You know, possibly not the latest stuff, but the first few. I do find it hard to pick a favorite, but probably Man Machine and Computer World will be up there. And what I love about Computer World, what I love about a lot of their stuff is that it is you know, that typically cold Teutonic Kraftwerk, but then you get these lovely gentle twinkling lines of keyboard over the top that are so warm and in such contrast to that, you know, to that robotic the robotic cold robotic backing. I love it. And then on the top of that you've got these kind of, you know, robot like vocals, you know, but then there are also like little harmonies in there as well. They're just such a contradiction. All Kraftwerk music, and it is just so fucking amazing, isn't it?
It's fantastic stuff. I mean, it was groundbreaking. It was stuff that wasn't anything we were hearing anyway. As you say, that clinical mechanical structure, but with melodies that kind of shouldn't be there. It was almost alien, but they did it very well.
Yeah, they did it fantastically well. And that was, you know, I think I was thinking John Fox, the Metamatic album is so influenced by Kraftwerk. It's just unbelievable. That was a very cold and clinical type of record. But then a lot of the synth pop bands took that like the twinkly melodic side of it and made a whole genre out of that as well.
Well, Kraftwerk get credited with influencing so many bands in so many different genres.
So many hip hop bands using Kraftwerk rhythms, you know, as you know, and sampling them. But Computer World was kind of their first one that did kind of go into the pop side of things. They really did. You know, a lot of the older stuff had that same kind of, you know, the warmness over the coldness. But Computer World was when they kind of put their pop boots on and said, right, we're going to do a pop album. And it's still, I mean, you've got like bloody Coldplay sampling it for a single. Yeah, they sampled it.
Oh God.
The bit that the and then they sampled a bit of that for I don't know what it's fucking called. I've no interest in Coldplay, but that was that, I mean, that was and that was kind of totally unexpected. It's like fucking Coldplay sampling,
right? Yeah,
you know, sampling Kraftwerk. But I mean, it's great to see they're still going. I really wanted to see them on that last tour. But the tickets were so fucking expensive.
Yeah, they were starting at 95 quid up in Nottingham.
Yeah, but the time I got enough money to actually afford one, they'd bloody sold out anyway. And there were odd ones that would pop up on Twicket. Excuse me, but I couldn't really. I got to the stage where I can't be fucking arsed now, you know. But I kind of I've seen them once, and that's that is the bucket list side of it done.
I saw them once,
and they were fabulous.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I saw them once, Brixton Academy, but I was so intoxicated that it's very difficult to remember much of it.
Oh dear, oh dear.
And especially it was a midnight show. I think they came on at midnight. They did a show earlier at the Academy, which we didn't go to, and then we went to the midnight show. And obviously by midnight, there's been a lot of substances passed around and so on. So it was a real hiding to nothing, really. But the bits I can remember, it was very good, I think.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time I got pissed at a concert. I really can't. I tend not to.
This wasn't so much pissed as powdered.
Well, yeah. Well, you bloody high earners can afford a better class of intoxicant than us fucking chavs.
Oh dear, oh dear.
I was talking. I did an Instagram reel this week about Zodiac Mindwarp and the Love Reaction, because I always loved that LP. And I went to see them with my friend Terry years ago at the Corn Exchange, and we got absolutely shit faced, and then swanned off back to the hotel that we both worked at, because Zodiac Mindwarp and the Love Reaction were staying there.
Right.
And so we walked in, and as soon as we walked in, we could see them in the bar. So we just wandered over, expecting this, and you get this like, hey up lads, how are you? And they're all these northern lads just sitting there having a fucking few, beers with their girlfriends. And they had a bottle of champagne, a couple of bottles of champagne, and some birthday cake because it was the guitarist's birthday. And we said, I hope you don't mind. We've just been to see you at oh no, sit down, have some champagne and have some cake. And so we scoffed birthday cake and champagne with them, just had a chat. They signed some stuff for us, and we went home. It was great. It was really, really cool.
We played with them, and I can't remember them being quite so accommodating when we were trying to ponce on their rider, because they had quite a big, hefty rider of beer and vodka and stuff. I don't think they were terribly impressed with us trying to get in there. and we were playing with them. We weren't even just kicking around, but there you go. Yeah, they were an interesting bunch. I saw them supporting Psychic TV, of all people. You wouldn't put the two together, would you?
No, not at all.
But they did.
Well, weirdly, when we saw them, the Wonder Stuff supported them.
Oh, right.
The Wonder Stuff were just starting out then, and then again another weird combination. We saw the Wonder Stuff at the Corn Exchange a few years later with Head of David supporting them, which was they were fucking brilliant as well. Head of David were great. They cleared the fucking hallway that loud. Everyone went out to the bar apart from like me. I fucking love Head of David. Yeah, they were brilliant. They were really, really good. Yeah. But yes. Anyway, so yeah, Kraftwerk, computer. I did it again. I'm such a farmhand. I might as well go. Ooh, Kraftwerk, Computer World. That's a fucking great record. That is. Jesus
oh dear. You're right. Yeah, great band, great record. Okay.
Yes.
My next one then. This will surprise you. I think possibly quite a lot, because as punk.
Go on then.
As punk.
Is it Dana?
Close.
It's Dana's on all kinds of everything. Oh fucking hell! Not again.
That would be funny, wouldn't it?
Bucksface.
As punk was kind of falling out of the press a bit, I think the media were looking for some other movement to pick up on as being the new threat to society. And as the Pistols and all of that lot flared away, this new threat came along. And rather than being a threat to the system and to the establishment and to monarchy, this was a threat to British masculinity and conservatism, because the new threat came stomping in with the arrival of the New Romantics, largely a bunch of pretty boy fops with floppy hair and flouncy clothes. Yay! And at the forefront, of that whole movement was Duran Duran, named after Dr. Durand from the film Barbarella.
I watched that
Just
recently.
Okay.
I hadn't seen it in ages. I found a 4K copy of it.
Okay.
And it was fucking
It's
brilliant.
great.
I thoroughly
It's
enjoyed it. I hadn't seen
fascinating.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, well, I'm sure when Dr. Durand appeared, you couldn't help but think, flash fleetingly, about Simon Le Bon.
It probably did cross my mind.
I'm sure it did, because they stormed very foppishly into the mainstream consciousness with Planet Earth, and then the same year.
Oh, this is Planet Earth. Ba, ba, da, ba, da, ba,
That's it. That's the one, almost.
Thank you.
And then Girls on Film.
Girls on
See,
Film.
you knows them all.
Girls on Film. Oh, that's a bit deep.
That was a bit. You could hurt yourself. You do yourself a mischief.
I could, yeah.
Yeah. And then Girls on Film. It was one of those really British moments where the local nightclub in March, Slacks, I think they had a special night showing of the video, because the video was scantily clad women.
Saucy.
Yeah, it's a bit
Very,
erotic.
very
So it was
saucy.
essentially a Benny Hill moment for those that thought they were a bit too sophisticated for Benny Hill.
Yes.
It's art. It's Duran Duran. But there you go.
It's art with boobies.
So despite all of the frothy indignation and the floppy clothes and the floppy hair and everything, I did quite find that
There was
first
a lot
album
of flopping, wasn't there?
A lot of flopping and flouncing. Flopping and flouncing, yes. So
did you flop and flounce very
I didn't
much?
flop and flounce.
were
I
you-
did at one point. I think I played it live in a punk band occasionally, a double-breasted shirt, which was my one concession to flopping and flouncing. But
I had one of them.
Did you?
Actually, yeah, quite liked it. I think it was a maroon one.
I had a black one.
And I think because we were out in the middle of nowhere, we had no idea what to fucking wear other than bondage trousers, and so we'd just wear any old shit, wouldn't we?
Not
really?
at all. I was at the
And I could-
forefront of style nationally.
Oh yeah, fucking hell.
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
strange.
yeah. The amount of times you got arrested for vagrancy.
It was a strange time, though, wasn't it? I mean, to be in a little
It was,
market
yeah.
town in 1981, when all of this stuff was kicking off around the country, you got riots, you got punk, you got all this upheaval, and we were in this little market town trying to forge a path as 16-year-olds.
Sitting on the market square going, "Ooh, I wonder what we're going to do today."
You're that new craft work, computer work.
Oh, God, look at the size of that carrot.
I got me a cattle. I got me 2 cattle. Oh dear, yeah.
Oh, dear.
But it's the first album is a really good album. I think the third single,
It's a fucking brilliant album.
Careless Memories,
Yeah.
is such an awesome piece of music. Totally motoric drum pattern with angry, choppy electronics, superb synth line. It's so powerful. I've got a remixed version of that, and it really comes together very, very well. And even Le Bon, for all his terminal serious foppishness, was delivering his lines
Yes.
with real meaning. It was about a broken relationship, residual pain, and you really believed that he'd lived that, and he probably had. I don't know. And then they've got guitars in it that pan between the speakers. It's really glorious, and it's got a lot of good tracks on it. Apart from the first 2 singles I mentioned already, but Friends of Mine I really liked as well, which got a great melody, and the chorus is just a great melody. It talks about armed robbers and the Rocky films. I don't really know what it's about. I've listened to it again recently. I don't really know what they're singing about, but it all holds together. But again, like a lot of bands, it was a flare of brilliance. And I know they went on to even greater heights with Rio and Reflex and all of that lot. But for me, it was that.
Her name is Rio, and she. Sorry. Dances on
Yes,
the
indeed.
sand.
For me, it was just that moment. I think they only had one good record after that, and that was Hungry Like the Wolf, and I really liked that. But other than that, I think it all became a little bit too slick, and big pastel suits and yachts, and the music, I think, lost a lot of the edge as well. But that album,
There was a lot of that. Yeah.
that album was great. I think, when we kind of said a few weeks ago we're going to do 1981, And you sit down and think, what was I listening to in 1981? You think, fucking hell, there was such an array of different music that
Oh,
we enjoyed.
my head was fucking
It's
spinning.
brilliant.
To be honest, there was so much stuff.
I mean, it was a brilliant year. Anyway, it was a fantastic year. Anyway, I think I look back on 1981 with very fond memories. But and part of it was Duran Duran and all the other music.
Yeah, yeah. I think I must say that from latest, the Ordinary World.
I don't know if I'd know that.
Was a fucking that was 93. That was.
I don't
That's
know
a
it.
banger of a song. That is
Was that
absolutely brilliant. There was a yeah, and there was a TV show that the girls watched a couple of years ago. And I think it might have been called, was it Everything Sucks? But they had there was a romance in there that was on off or wasn't. There were two girls, and you know you just wanted them to get together. That the plot was kind of forced apart, and you wanted them to fall in love. And then they danced in the end to Ordinary World. And it was just fun. Even I had a fucking tear in my eye watching that. It was so well done. It was so well done. I'll check in the next break and see if I can remember if it was called that. Yeah, it was fantastic. Really good. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you weren't quite as horrified as I was expecting, which is good because I thought.
Oh, I loved it. I thought they were great. I totally embraced the whole new romantic thing as well. I thought there was some fantastic music that came out of that. In fact, on my secondary list, I've got Soft Cell.
Okay.
Non-stop erotic cabaret. But I know we've talked about that a lot before as well. And I was very, very close to putting in Simple Minds, Sons of Fascination as well. Which is more electronic than New Romantic, but I think it all blended. It all blended in after that. Didn't
the edges were blurred, and a lot of the time, we were just talking about punk and trying to define edges and saying, well, no, perhaps not. It was, these edges were not finite; they weren't absolute.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, we had no boundaries. No. Even though we were kind of still in that kind of bondage trousers and Doc Martens and leather jackets period, we were listening to ridiculous amount of other stuff, including my next pick, which again I'm pretty sure I've had before, but I can't resist putting it in because it is probably in that mythical list of albums that I keep going on about in the top 10, and that is Heaven Up Here by Echo and the Bunnymen.
I think you definitely had it, yeah.
I just think this is one of the great albums of all time, and it's just I think it's kind of overlooked a bit in their catalogue. I was talking to I saw Jamie, whose podcast I was on the other day. He was talking. Someone had picked Crocodiles. Their first LP, and I commented on there and said, Heaven Up Here is their masterpiece, and it is. And I know a lot of people prefer subsequent albums as well, the Cutter and Porcupine and An Ocean Rain, because Ocean Rain's got fucking hell, what's it called? The great big one, Killing Moon on. But I think that Heaven Up Here is a more complete LP, and just from start to finish is just, if you took one tiny bit out of that whole LP, it would ruin it. It just flows so brilliantly as a whole. It's a fucking masterpiece. I remember buying it. I bought it on tape. I'd got a tape. I got a cassette player, and I used to keep it in my bedroom. So I had a period where I bought a lot of tapes just because it was easy just to sit there and listen to them and use mum's hi-fi in the front room, and I just used to play it to death. There are such amazing songs on it. Over the Wall, track 3 is just, oh my god, it's just immense. And A Promise, is just one of those. It's just, there's such a majestic scale to it, and again, this all comes back to our argument we've had several times. Not our argument, our discussion really, about why did Echo and the Bunnymen not become the biggest band in the fucking world? And this is the album that I think, how could this not have sold 1 million copies?
Yeah.
It's so brilliant. It's just awesome. And it's so much better than anything. I mean, as much as I loved U2 at the time,
I
as
loved
we
U2.
talked about last, you know, oh bless. Mwah, mwah, mwah. You know, as we discussed in the last episode, I think this is better than, I think Heaven Up Here is better than anything that U2, Simple Minds, any of those big bands from around that time ever made. And I'll die on that fucking hill as well. I just think it's absolutely immense, and it deserved a much bigger audience than it ever got.
Yeah.
It deserved to be played in stadiums.
I don't know what it was about them. You know, the stuff that I've heard by them, I haven't disliked, but I never did really feel compelled to pick up an album. You know, I'd know the singles or some of the singles, and they're okay, but I never really got Echo and the Bunnymen the same way you did.
I think there was something a bit more, I don't want to say intellectual, but something a bit more well read about them than those other bands as well. There was something a bit more literate about them.
Now, you say I was too thick to like them.
Yeah.
Twat.
No, it's I think no, just in a general point of view, there was something really, you know, I don't like to say intelligent or intellectual about them, but it's hard to kind of not.
I think I know what you mean.
Use those.
Yeah.
There was a real. Yeah, it was like it was like they were a bunch of scallies who'd been brought up, but had also, you know, doing, you know, laddish things, but also had access to a library and used the fucker. Do you know?
I do think I can't think of better words to put it in, but I do think I know what you mean.
Simple Minds were a bit more, well, probably a bit more metropolitan. They were a bit more worldly and a bit more, but a bit more concentrated on the architecture of things rather than, you know. So they'd be looking at the architecture of the library and discussing that. And Echo and the Bunnymen will be in the library reading all the books, but. And you two would be in the fucking religion section, you know. That's you know, and that's not. I don't mean that as derogatory in a derogatory manner at all.
No,
it is just how I read those three bands.
Right.
You know,
they're all
because,
circulating around the library in some way, shape, or form.
You imagine Simple Minds touring Europe.
Yeah,
and going to all the major landmarks, you know, and literally discussing the buildings. That's how I saw Simple Minds, and I think that's, if you look at their artwork and you look at their lyrics around this time, there is a lot of that, you know.
Right.
It's about I Travel, the American, you know, themes for great cities. There's a lot of you know, not a worldliness, just a more of a attention paid to the world we're in, whereas Echo and the Bunnymen were all in the literary world.
Okay, I think you've made the point there. Yes, and
yeah, sorry, yeah, I have gone on a bit about that, which is good, really, because I think I've had this album before and I talked about something completely different. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is, in my opinion, one of the great LPs from the 80s, from any decade, but you know, particularly from the 80s. And I love it, and I could fucking stick that on any time of the day and absolutely love it. You know, it would just take me away. That would. It's just such a fantastic LP.
Okay.
So yeah, Heaven Up Here, and literature, architecture, and faith. So there you go.
All thrown into one entry on the list. Well done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could probably have got that into one sentence.
No doubt. Such is your way.
Oh,
So you've
Jesus.
done all of those wonderful things. I'm going to bring my number four in with incontinence.
Taking the piss.
Incontinent, Fad Gadget's second album.
Ah, yes. I was wondering when the
Well,
fadster would
yeah,
emerge.
well, I've already spoken about him one previous podcast, but not this album. And there's no denying that 1980s first album, Fireside Favourites, is the perfect Fad Gadget album. There's no denying that was the best, but this one is a very, very close second. 1981, he released Incontinent. It's by no means a weak record. It's like comparing Monty Python's Holy Grail with The Life of Brian. You know, one is slightly better than the other, depending on your particular penchants, but they're both absolutely
Which one's
terrific.
better?
Holy Grail is the better one.
Yep,
But
same.
I'll go and watch Life of
Correct.
Brian. Yeah, well, there you go. But a lot of people think Life of
Correct.
Brian is the best one, and it is. They're
Well, they're
both
twats,
superb.
aren't they?
They're both superb. It's a fine line, and the same with
Yeah.
with this. But Fad Gadget's kind of muse was a fading thing. It kind of faded over album after album. I think there were few artists of any aspect, sculptors, painters, musicians, who consistently over decades produce incredible work. You know, in music, people like Bjork, PJ Harvey, Tom Waits, Nick Cave, they can go forever, and they just keep putting out incredible records. Fad put out some great records, but when you look at 1980, Farside Favourites, 10 out of 10. 1981, Incontinent, 9 out of 10. 1982, Under the Flag, 8 out of 10. 1984, Gag, 7 out of 10, and so on. So it's fading. But
yeah.
this is a great record. The first thing that's striking about it, and it's one of the great things about a big old 12-inch LPs, was the cover, because it's a very striking cover. Frank, that's Frank Tovey, which, as I've said before, is Fad Gadget's real name. It's heavily made up, dressed as a very sinister Mr. Punch, looking over his shoulder, and there's absolute black darkness behind him, but for this creepy, ghostly face that's behind him. It's all shot by that master of photography.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it was you. I always think, I don't know why, but I always thought of it looking like John Peel. And I look at it again and think, why did I ever think that looked like John Peel? But it just kind of did to me at the time. But it's all shot by Anton Corbijn, who's a master of photography. So great stuff there. Some music,
particularly black and white photography.
all kinds. I mean, he's made films as well. He's one of those, like Tom Waits and Nick Cave and Bjork and so on, who just keep going and producing perfect work. But this record, as I say, is still fantastic. Musically, the rawness of Fireside Favourites, the first album, has been kind of displaced by something more refined. It's become a little bit more sinister and a little bit more sophisticated, and a little bit more restrained. And I think the exuberance in the first album, which is right up in your face, has been kind of, well, refined. So on each of the albums, you've got one big instrumental, and on both the albums, these are high points for me. On the first album, it's Arch of the Aorta, which is a fantastic piece of music. On Incontinent, it's Diminished Responsibility. And whereas the former is a sublime drum-driven soundscape with stabbed piano chords and lilting synths, it is wonderful. On the later version, the Incontinent version of an instrumental track, it's a lot of space and drifting pulses, and these sounds that are out of phase, crawling out of the silence, corrupted voices and shouts in the background, arrhythmic drums and occasional percussive strikes. It's like Frank's kind of getting a feel for, I can do a lot more than I've demonstrated already, and it's great. It's great indeed. Another high point on there is Swallow It, which is drums and electronic bass backline driving it along. The synth producing some occasional melodic cover, but yet again, it's very sinister. I think the whole album is much more sinister than Fireside Favourites. And it's about how people are gullible, swallow it like the fool you are is the refrain in the lyrics, and the tendency of people to favour simplicity and reject ambiguity and just plump for whatever's the easiest to believe, which is as true then as it is today. But I think my favourite track is Saturday Night Special, which is led by a harpsichord. The harpsichord is right up as the lead instrument. There's a synth drone that ebbs and flows like dark, viscous liquid, and the drums are very spare and sparse. And Fad's voice is in full sinister mode, where he's talking about every man should have the right to shoot somebody, and every man should have the right to take a wife and keep her at home with the kids and the cooking, and ever ready in the bedroom. It's very much kind of a very kind of, I don't know, incel view of life. It's redneck backward mentality presented. It's the Tate brothers presented as if it's kind of a real model for life. It's
as if they had chins.
Something like that. But early Fad Gadget is unbeatable stuff. These first albums are great. Incontinent, as I say, that came out in '81, and it is a classic from a guy who didn't manage to keep it going with durability, but his moment in the sun, his moment shining was bright indeed, and I love the stuff that he was doing.
Yeah, I did come to love Fad Gadget. I must admit, I didn't like it when you used to play it. I didn't quite get it at the time. I don't think
that's because it's too sophisticated for you.
It probably was. Yeah, I was just I'd been down on the fire, and I just weren't ready for that kind of thing. I don't know what it was. There was something about it I just didn't really take to at the time.
Yeah.
And after, and years later, I stumbled across Fad Gadget again. I thought, fuck me, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it.
I don't think I knew anybody at the time around in my circles that got into Fad Gadget, but
no.
Yeah.
No, I think we all had bands like that, didn't we? Listening to that no one else really got.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because we're not drones.
Cool. Yes. It must be.
So there you go. That's my fourth one, I think. Yeah, my fourth one. So what do you got next then, David?
My fourth one is another long title.
Oh.
It is Sea Jungle, go join your gang, yeah. City all over, go ape crazy by Bow Wow Wow.
Fantastic.
And I always loved Bow Wow Wow.
Yeah.
I just thought they were a great band.
Yeah.
I mean, they were constructed by Malcolm McLaren, who took over managing Adam and the Ants at Adam's behest, I believe, and then stole his whole band and told Adam to fuck off. So he took Dave Barbarossa, Matthew Ashman, and what was the drummer's name? No, that's right. Barbarossa was the drummer. Lee Gorman.
Yeah.
He took them off and did a hunt for a new singer and found 13-year-old Annabella Lewin, who I don't know how. I think there was lots of dodginess around McLaren at the time, and there were. I mean, at one point in the 80s, he was going to start probably a child sex mag called Chicken. That was one of his plans.
Oh dear!
And yeah, it is oh dear. But at the time, I remember nobody really said much about it. I mean, it's like a lot of things, really. You look back on and you think, "Fuck me, that was dodgy."
Yeah.
And it was. But at the time, nobody really batted an eyelid, and it was, because of the attitudes at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't quite as bad as back in the 70s. It's like, fucking hell, that was
a.
But this was.
Mold.
But anyway, so Annabella, despite being only 13, was often in these kind of, quite racy, for want of a better word, photo shoots. And it was always a bit. I think at the time you were like, she's like 13.
Yeah, it was another one of those things that the press got hold of, and it was very much.
Yeah.
She's always chaperoned. She's always chaperoned. Well, is she? Is she?
Yeah, but you know, but she may be chaperoned, but she's like on this cover half naked.
Yeah.
But anyway, they released the first thing was C30, C60, C90 Go, and it had that Burundi bum beat. It had a Burundi bum beat. Fucking hell, have you had a bum dream? They are nasty, I can tell
anal
you.
seepage.
Lots and lots of thumping, you know, and especially if you've got like a huge anus like the like your first LP. Oh dear. Yes, the Burundi drum beat.
Excellent.
The Adam then half inched as well and used to become even bigger than Bow Wow Wow, who never really fulfilled their potential, I don't think.
No.
Great band. But yeah,
C30, longer than Adam and the Ants because Bow Wow Wow is still playing, and I don't know how.
Well, Adam and the Ants, Adam Ant is still playing. He's still touring regularly.
But he's Marco Peroni's dead, isn't he?
He may well be. But Bow Wow Wow's only Annabella now.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
I think because Matthew Ashman died, didn't he? Yeah, and so C30, C60, C90 Go on the radio. I got a constant show. Hit it, pause it, rewind.
Yeah.
That was the first single, and that was released on cassette. That was the first ever cassette single.
C30, C60s, and C90s.
Yeah. So McLaren's aim was to make the cassette even more popular, and to do this was by releasing cassette singles. So I think Work was the first cassette single. Sorry, C30, C60.
Why was it in his interest to?
I'm not really sure. I don't know whether there was a particular, whether it was for. He just saw cassettes as the future. For some fucking reason, I've no idea why. So he you would start. These were the first cassette singles, really. You know, C30, C60, C90 Go, and then he did one called Your Cassette Pet, which was I think that was the one with Work on it. That was a mini album. That's right, 8 tracks. But then came the album. So the album was, you know, mainly the singles, a few more tracks, but it was a cracking album. I mean, helped by the fact that the band were tight as anything. They were a great band, great musicians, and Annabella really could sing.
Yeah.
And she had such a presence as well. I mean, for however old she was at this time, I mean, 81. I imagine she was still 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because they auditioned her in 80, and she was 30, so she could only be 14 now. But she had tremendous presence, and you know, it was a great focal point. That's what he wanted, and he did. I mean, he did. You know, I mean, it wasn't very good what he did. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you know, he exploited her terribly. I mean, as a 13-year-old, like we were saying earlier, you know, she was always wearing the skimpiest and then for the album cover he created an old painting which meant that she had to sit naked in the middle of a forest, as you know, and you're like, fuck me. And even, you know, like I said earlier, even then you thought that's a bit fucking iffy. That's like some of your schoolmates kind of being asked to pose like that, so you knew it wasn't quite right. And but the album's brilliant. I mean, you had Go Wild in the Country,
brilliant,
which was a massive hit. That was.
Yeah.
And then you know, and Chihuahua was a fabulous song as well. And lots of exclamation marks, lots of yelps, and you know, lots of the jungle drums, and you know, it really is a fantastic LP. And even then, I was kind of listening to a couple of tracks, you know, while we just had a break, as well as eating some hot honey crisps, which were really nice. And it's a great album, you know, and pretty much everything they done then was really worthwhile. There were some great songs on there. And again, you know, all came in these lavishly packaged cassettes. He really went for it with the cassettes. I mean, they had these great big fold-out sleeves, and you know, it was great. And you know, from 80 all through 81, it was single after single. Then you got like 82, you had I Want Candy.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
in fact, Go Wild in the Country didn't come out as a single till 82. I hadn't clocked that, to be honest.
Louis Couture's was one of my favourite, but I don't think
yeah.
it's not on the album, is it?
No, that was a single.
Yeah, it was a single. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, I don't know if it was on the album. I don't think it was.
Yeah, I don't think it
But
was.
there's plenty of the album itself isn't on Spotify in its full glory.
Okay.
All the tracks are on various compilations,
Right.
but for some reason the album isn't. But they were great. Me and Neil went to see them in Cambridge around when I think it was when Go Wild in the Country was at its peak. So it would have been probably 82, I would think. And they were fucking great. They were really good. They had the worst support. I can't remember the support band were. I've got a feeling they were called Jimmy the Hoover.
Oh dear.
And they had to deal with all these Nazi skinheads in the middle of the crowd, Sieg-heiling them. I mean, it was the 80s. You know, this is what fucking happened at gigs in the 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the yeah, but it didn't let them put them off. And when Bow Wow came out, I mean, why skinhead Nazis would want to be at a Bow Wow concert kind of is beyond me. But
just for trouble.
But yeah, they were there. Yeah, just because they're twats, you know, were then. Fucking are now. Fucking skinhead Nazis. You can all fuck off.
As Jello would say.
Yeah. Yep. Nazi punks, Nazi punks, Nazi punks.
Fuck off. Although I did see an interview with him only a few years ago, and he said it wasn't really about Nazis. It was about the bouncers and just people who
yes, it was. Yeah. I saw that. It was about the jocks and
it's
the
a bit
high
of
school
disappointment,
jocks.
Really, because you can't.
Yeah, I know.
But there you go.
I know. I'm happy to ignore that and pretend you didn't say it.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I think the thing with Bow Wow Wow is it's easy to kind of focus on the Burundi drumming, which was brilliant, or Annabella, who was fascinating. But you overlook the fact that the bass playing in that band was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
It was all high. Yeah. A lot of it was high up, a bit like New Model Army. It was all high up and very kind of almost funky kind of bass.
Oh, totally. Yeah, absolutely. And the guitar always seemed a bit like, you know, it wasn't always there, but it was because it was so good. Matthew Ashman was a fucking brilliant guitarist.
Yeah, it's very understated.
Absolutely brilliant guitarist. Yeah, he was so good. I mean, I can remember my friend Martin always rated Matthew Ashman as a. Did he go on to play in another band?
Very probably.
Matt Ashman. I can't remember now. He played Chiefs of Relief.
Oh, right.
He played in a band called Chiefs of Relief, and I'm pretty sure Martin was a big fan of them and always rated Matthew Ashman. Fuck me, he died 30 years ago.
God.
Jeepers, I didn't know that. That's really sad, isn't it?
Oh, it is, yeah.
But yeah. So great band.
Yeah.
Despite Malcolm McLaren. You can say that about any band that Malcolm McLaren.
But they wouldn't have been there at all, would they?
They wouldn't have. No. And some of his ideas. I mean, I still look back on the cassette thing and think, you know, that was really, it was quite awesome. It was really well done.
Yeah.
You know, he was a bit of a twat, but you know, there you go. So that's 1981. I don't know whether that's one you were expecting me to come out with.
No, I hadn't thought that you would come out with that. I'd seen that was a 1981 album because I've got it myself, but I thought no, that wouldn't come on the list.
Yeah, I just always had a bit of a thing for it. I just always thought it was a really underrated album.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, I played it a lot at that time. I played Bow Wow a lot. I really enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I really thought they were a great band.
I always found trying to sing along to C30, C60, C90 was always like a
C30, C60, C90 go on the radio. You get a constant flow. Hit it, pause it, rewind and replay. Something. C30, C60, C90, go, C30, CPO,
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't quite do it. But
exactly what I was going to say before you
Yeah.
lurched into your own bit of kind of.
I did lurch then,
You did
didn't I?
lurch, yes.
I
but
like a
that
fucking
last
lurch.
bit of that chorus, I could never really sing through. It's almost like a tongue twister.
I think it's
C30,
C6. I think it
C30,
is basically
C60,
C30.
C90, yeah, it's
Yeah,
yeah,
C30, C60, C90, go,
yeah.
or something like that.
It was.
But it's doing
kind
it
of
at
beating
speed
me.
at our age. Same with anything, doing anything at speed
Don't
at
think I
our
can
age.
do it then, actually.
Fucking impossible, isn't it? I
Okay.
can talk bollocks. I can talk bollocks at speed.
You've demonstrated that aidantly. Right, my final pick for this session is another fantastic woman in music, post-punk, who we've talked about before, and it is Siouxsie and the Banshees, and one of their finest moments, the album Juju. Which was released in 1981. And it's slap bang in the middle of what I think of as their golden period, because before that was Kaleidoscope, and after it was Kiss in the Dream House, and there were three favourite albums. Not that they didn't do any of the great stuff, but there were three favourite albums. And Juju is arguably the best of the lot. So came out, I was on Polydor, and it came out at the time that Siouxsie and Budgie had started to flirt with a splinter group called The Creatures, which was just the drummer, Budgie, and Siouxsie. And that was one of the biggest disappointments in music for me, I think, ever. The tantalising concept of just Siouxsie singing and Budgie drumming. I thought this is going to be powerful, powerful stuff. And it really, really wasn't. So I've got a couple of Creatures records that I can happily say I never play. I've tried to look like them, but I don't. But that aside, fortunately, the Creatures project didn't take any of the energy and creativity away from the band, the Banshees, and they made Juju, which became their best-selling LP. Got to number 7 in the charts, and Steve Severin, the bassist, described it as a kind of almost an accidental or an inadvertent dark concept album, which they made, and only after they'd made it did they kind of think, that's a concept album. I'm not quite sure how you can do that, really, because a concept album surely has a concept. That's the whole point of it. But there you go.
Well, you would think, yeah.
they didn't look at it that way. So great tracks on here. So one of my favourites on this album is Into the Light. And it's a very unpunky kind of track, but it's a wonderful piece of music. I don't quite know why, but it often makes me feel quite tearful. It is about mortality and death.
You big old softy. Yeah.
I know, it's the age. You know, it's hard to not quite every fucking thing.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But it is about mortality and death. But I've got loads and loads of records about mortality and death that don't have that effect. But I think it's the combination of the music and the emotion in Siouxsie's voice. It's just beautiful. But it's very toppy. It's an unusual sound because John McGeoch had discovered this way to get an unusual guitar sound by using something he called the gizmo, which places wheels on the strings and creates this kind of otherworldly, jangly sound.
Oh, didn't Big Country used to use one of them as well, didn't they? Was that the same kind of thing? It was, something similar. I remember he used to.
Okay.
He used to have a thing. Stuart Adamson used to put a thing on his strings that would.
He had a great sound. It was different to this, but
absolutely.
He was a great guitar player. He really was a good guitar player.
Yeah. Totally.
So there's this track, and there's Arabian Nights, of course, Sin in My Heart, which surges faster and faster and faster, and the Banshees are whipping up this big brew of noise, and Siouxsie's voice is swooping and soaring around it. It's great. But I think possibly my favourite track on the album is Monitor, which is just awesome. I think it's about surveillance, but it's another one of those tracks. It kind of suggests it's about surveillance. It talks about crime and the new era of authority, a sentinel of misery, but having that turned into entertainment, or in Siouxsie's words, the real McCoy. I kind of think that's what it's about, turning surveillance into entertainment. But whatever, it's a fantastic piece of music and a great album. Juju itself, Susie, like Kraftwerk, as we were talking about earlier on, have been cited as being very influential for a lot of bands, and bands you wouldn't expect. Bands from the Smiths and Radiohead, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Jesus and Mary Chain, Suede, whole raft of different bands where you can kind of get a sense of that what they were doing, which was, I think, quite unique at the time, did have a lasting impact on that whole generation of musicians, both sides of the Atlantic and probably beyond. Sadly, McGeoch died after an epileptic seizure, which is the same way my old mate Andy Frantic died, sadly.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a seizure and there was nobody there for him at the time, which is terrible sad thing. I was just listening to that tape that came in the post that Kim sent over, and I hadn't heard any of that for 40 years, and it does take you back to those times. I think, what the fuck were we thinking?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, in the when we were that age, we weren't thinking about any fucking thing, were we? Let's face it.
Live fast, die young.
Yeah. Yeah. We just didn't. Yeah, we didn't think of anything. I don't think.
No, not really. No, I don't know. I think 81, 82, I certainly was starting to get a grasp that there was more in the world intellectually and politically and so on than we'd kind of spent the previous 15 years thinking about. And I think the music we were listening to really facilitated that, as well as becoming conscious of the media and the news. And I remember wondering why there always seemed to be fucking tanks in the desert rolling across the news all the time. It wasn't until kind of like 81, 82 that you realised all these kind of persistent conflicts that were going on and why they were going on. Anyway, enough of that old nonsense.
Well, weirdly, Andy, I remember, I think possibly with you, I don't know, but I remember going over to Peterborough once and met Andy Frantic, and he was going to off into Peterborough to collect money for the miners. And I didn't really know much about the miners' strike then, other than what my mum had told me, and she was a fucking Tory. She's a fucking Tory. He kind of explained loads of it to me, and it was really interesting. And I end up, I can't remember if it was me and you, or I can't remember who it was, but we end up holding buckets with him in collecting money in the Peterborough town centre for a while.
We did some benefit gigs for the miners, and all proceeds to the families of the miners and so on. And it was, despite the fact that the music wasn't anarcho-punk, or it wasn't really proper punk, there was a lot of stuff that we did that was in support of local communities and the homeless shelter. One Step, we did stuff from those and all kinds. It was a good thing to do. It was a good thing to do, as well as being a whole barrel of fun. I just wasn't a big fan of the music that we were making, because I was listening to 150 Passages of Throbbing Gristle and Crass and that, and none of that really fitted the Frantics. But there you go. So that's Susie and the Banshees, and Juju, and my final entry on this list.
Excellent. Bloody hell, is that it? I didn't realise. I've got one more, haven't I?
Got one more, hopefully.
So I did that thing where I've kind of had, I picked those original four, and I had one more, and I've been, which one should I pick? Which one I pick? Which one should I pick? I've decided to go with Damaged by Black Flag.
Oh, right. Okay.
Which harks back to the Agent Orange thing, really. And the reason I picked it was because it reminded me of the fanzine culture back in the day.
Yeah.
And how we used to because blah blah blah. It's a fucking great album. It's Henry Rollins' first album with Black Flag. It's got fucking classics on it. It's got Rise Above on it. I mean, for goodness sake, what a song. TV Party, which is my favourite, which I've actually got a TV Party tattoo on my arm. Gimme, 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 Police Story. It is just a phenomenal album. But like I say, I wanted to mention it because it reminded me of fanzine culture. Because I kind of largely forgotten about it. I think because I shipped all my old fanzines out years ago.
I was going to ask if you still got any.
No, I think I've got a few from the late 80s, but I haven't got any of the early ones we had. I mean, because you were getting, we were mainly getting anarcho punk ones, weren't we?
Hmm.
Or we'd have these envelopes where you tape over the stamps, and then because it would say send 25p
Yeah.
and a stamped addressed envelope,
Yeah.
and we'll send you our fanzine back. And you'd send 25p in a fans, and you put this bloody envelope in that was all that had tape all over it, see-through sellotape over it, over the stamps. And then when it came back, you just rub the postmark off, and you reuse the some people used to use
Yeah.
soap because they used to call it
I'd
soap
forgotten.
the stamps. There was a fanzines called Soap the Stamps and things like that. So
I'd
we'd
forgotten
reuse
about
these.
that.
Yeah, we'd reuse these. And I can remember getting around this time getting fanzines that had all about American hardcore punk and American punk in there, And I think that was possibly, that might have been where I heard of Agent Orange, or I might have sent for these fanzines because of Agent Orange. I can't really remember. But I just remember getting one, and it had Black Flag in it. And the guy, and I think I've corresponded with the guy, and he sent me Damaged on a cassette tape.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because obviously there was lots of cassette culture around that time as well. That was the other thing, there was lots of tape swapping and tape swapping by post. And you get people saying, they put an advert somewhere, maybe in the back of the fanzine saying, send £1 and a blank cassette to such and such, and they'd put one of them came back with Damaged on by Black Flag, and I can't remember. I've got a feeling it was would it have been a Social Distortion album on the other side? It might have been. I can't remember. That'd been 81. I can't remember what was on the B side. But yeah, and Damaged is just such a fucking great LP. And I didn't actually own a copy for years. I just had this old cassette tape. I think I've got it on vinyl nowadays. But Black Flag were amazing. I think Six Pack was when oh god, I don't know who was singing. Six Pack came out on Alternative Tentacles. Because you had Let Them Eat Jelly Beans LP as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember what year that was.
That was
must have been
82.
80. Yeah, possibly. And that was great because that had lots of American bands on.
Yeah.
But I know that Alternative Tentacles released Six Pack in Britain, and I can't remember that was that Des Cadena was singing on that one.
Oh, God knows.
No, I can't remember because they had so many bloody lineups. Black Flag did. It was always Greg. Was it Ginn or Gin? I always want to say Greg Ginn, but I've got a feel. Oh, is it? Well, fuck, it would be, wouldn't it?
I think that's what I always say.
It's Greg, whatever. Fucking hell. Yeah, and they had so many different singers and members of the band. And I think even when I got the tape, I wasn't really that sure who was actually singing because it just said Black Flag, Damaged. But fuck, I listened to that no end.
Right.
And then I remember when Repo Man film came out and TV Party was part of the soundtrack.
Okay, right.
But yeah, it was bloody hell, what an LP, and it was just good to see that. It was happening over in the States as well, and it was so different. They'd kind of taken bits of American culture, but also bits of English punk, but mainly the fast bits, which was fucking brilliant because I love the speed of the American bands, and plus we just got Discharge as well, so the whole D beat thing was happening. That was as fast as fuck.
That was indeed.
And you just needed more speed. And then when you actually saw pictures of Rollins, and Rollins just looked fucking, just the stance on stage and just that the black shorts and the tattoos and the muscles and everything. It's like, whoa, fucking hell.
There was a thing, is in Sounds or Melody Maker, they used to run a weekly thing. I'm sure I mentioned this in a previous episode. They used to run a weekly thing that was kind of like, if you don't agree with this, Henry Rollins will get you or whatever. Right. They just hold him up as the kind of boogeyman that would come and beat the shit out of you.
Yeah. But there was a great scene going on, and picking up these little bits and bobs of it. I think that was even more exciting, was the fact that it was so far away, and you just got it in dribs and drabs. You know, you could get, you know, Keith would order bits, you know, bits and bobs in, and you talk to people through these fanzines and get these cassettes sent to you, and you know, play them, and half the time you'd lose the fucking track list, so you had no idea what you were listening to. But yeah, it was great, wasn't it? I think I think you know, do you lose something? Do the youngsters these days lose something?
Well, they
really,
have something different, don't they? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
We look back on the fanzines and all that tape swapping as kind of halcyon days. So much fun waiting for the post and what was going to come through. They look at it as arcane, slow, and lo-fi.
It was so fucking primitive, wasn't it?
Exactly.
It was so primitive.
So
you know,
people today have got the swish bang wallop of fucking social media and that, and for them, that's the same, I guess.
Yeah. But they can just go boink, and there's that. There's the song. Yeah. You know. Yeah. You know, and even those old tapes we'd have where we weren't sure what the bloody songs were. Yeah. They'd just play it and fucking Shazam it. You know. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that was this. Yeah. And we'd be like, what the bloody hell was I don't know. You write the lyrics down, and then do you know a song called No, never was that. Keith, do you? I ain't got a fucking clue, mate. Oh, okay, yeah, no problem.
Now, going through, like I said, I've been sorting through some cassette tapes of mine. There were several in there with music on that I don't know what it is. Some of it's good, some of it's not so good, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, so there you go. That's 1981 done.
What a year!
What a year!
In every sense.
What do we miss off? I mean, I've got things like Mask, Bauhaus.
Yeah.
Sleep No More, The Comsat Angels, Psychedelic First, Talk, Author, Bascars, Splodgeness Abounds.
There was
that LP came out, and that's what, as I talked about in the punk episode, Splodgeness Abounds. I did love that LP. Simple Minds, Sons of Fascination, The Cure, Faith, Killing Joke. What's This For? They were both 1981. But again, we talked about all that so much that it seemed a bit pointless, really.
That's it. Stations of the Cross, I think, was 81 as well. Or was
that was 80.
That was
Penis Envy was 81.
Penis Envy, yeah. Yeah, it was a fabulous, fabulous year.
Absolutely. So
what have you been listening to?
What have I been listening to this week? Well, I've been listening to.
You must get very close to the microphone when you do that.
Well, what have I been listening to this week? Well, it's a long list, mate. It's a long list. It's I've been listening to. Well, as I said earlier, Pitch Shifter. I listened to a lot of Pitch Shifter this year. I did an Insta on them. Particularly, I was listening to Submit with Glitter Feels Like This on it. Asian Dub Foundation. I found my CD copy of Raffi's Revenge, which is a banger of a fucking record, absolute banger. And I always forget how good it is until I play it again, and then somehow I'm surprised. Oh bloody hell! You know, I've been listening to lots of Maps and Diagrams. Who is Tim Martin from? I think he's from Whittlesey Way. Oh. He's been doing lots of really cool ambient music for years now, and I did an Insta on him, and because he used to work right near me when I worked in Peterborough. He worked just down the road, so I'd order CDs from him, and he just dropped them into the. Oh,
you mentioned it before, yeah.
So I've been listening to lots of that. He actually said that after he was on the Insta, he had so many visitors to the site. He sold out of most of the stuff that was left on his Bandcamp, and got loads of new followers, which is really cool.
Cool. Yeah.
I've also been listening to Ladybug, which is The Bug and Disfig on vocals.
Yeah,
very good. That is very good. On Bandcamp only. And Renaissance, the Dirty Columns new album.
Okay. So which is
about that. Excellent. A really, really good LP. I really like that. Yes. So That's what I've been listening to this week. And what about you, Jake?
And what about
have
me?
you been listening to this week?
just out this year, earlier this year, an album called Gentle Voices Volume 1, which is a collection of very beautiful, hazy ambience curated by Anita Tatlow of Echoes Blue Music and Cynthia Bernard of Cloud Collecting. So that's very, very nice.
I'd like to listen to that. That sounds good. And don't you mean gentle voices?
Gentle voices, yes, it's all electronics.
Gentle voices,
lovely voices.
volume 1.
Very
Gentle
nice.
volumes.
Very,
Next up, it's a really loud wankers by.
yeah, but actually, the next one.
Oh, shout, you bastard.
The next one is a bit different. It's one of the cassettes that I found, and it's by
right.
Ramler. And
Oh, right, yeah.
it's only 4 tracks, and it's not on Discogs, but the 4 tracks are all named after a famous or infamous American serial killer. So there's Theodore Robert Bundy and Edmund Emil Kemper and Henry Lee Lucas. And the 4 tracks, and Kenneth Bianchi, and the 4 tracks are just bits of interview with these people, with these killers, backed by ominous electronic pulsing and screeching.
Ominous synth,
which is very nice, very effective.
I told you the ominous synth story, didn't I? With Stranger Things and the did I ever tell you that?
I don't know.
When Annie used to watch Stranger Things, and Annie always insisted on having the subtitles on, and every time there was creepy music, it would just say ominous synth, and it just became a little catchphrase for us for a little while. Ominous synth.
Yes, well, it's got ominous synths indeed. Then
Yes.
some nice grainy piano-led ambience, Quiet Sunlight by Will Bolton from 2024. An album called Stone by Ro Tan, who's a Nanjing-born musician, and that's awesome noise drone ritualistic music. And then finally, one of the most incredibly powerful, haunting, spectral live performances ever. It's Vina Cava by Diamanda Galas, which is definitely spine-chilling stuff.
I thought you were going to say it was Shirley Bassey at the Newport Odeon, 67.
No, it is Dana.
All coins of everything,
but with lots of effects.
Me to you.
You know them all. I think my dad used to fancy Dana. No, it was not Dana.
No, it's Dana used to fancy your dad.
I can't remember her name. Who's that Southwest Country poetess?
Pam Ayres.
That's her.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was walking down the road,
That's her, yeah.
and I trod upon a toad. You weren't expecting that, were you?
Oh, good grief! Your performance repertoire is quite vast.
It's fantastic. I should be on the stage.
You should be on the stage, coach out of here.
I was just about to say this one leaves in 10 minutes.
Okay. So
Yes, so I have to say hello to Greatest Playlist Ever, the second best podcast in the world. With DJ Substance, Brooklyn Pete, Robert the Supergirl Wonder. And they keep every bloody time. So because we're late recording this one. A couple of weeks ago, you have to pick 6 songs.
Mhm.
So that I listened, and it's like, oh, REM, yeah. Oh, and normally I'd go straight for REM, but they had this Mortal Coil,
oh
Jeweler.
dear,
the Jeweler,
that's
yeah.
a great one.
Yes, I had to go
That'd
for
be
that.
no
yeah.
contest.
And it was Can't Get There From Here of REM, which is one of the ones I don't really like that much.
Right.
And then this week, I had to pick between Sugar and Ned's Atomic Dustbin.
I'd go with Sugar, I would think.
No, I had to go with Ned's Atomic Dustbin because it was Grace L. Green, and that's probably my favourite.
Okay.
My favourite Ned's song. Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. So we'd have split the vote.
We would.
We'd have split the vote. Yes.
Tough
yes.
times.
So, and this week, I think I'm pretty sure it was DJ Substance didn't turn up.
Wow.
Yeah, they did the whole. That's the whole. And I thought, what would I do if you didn't turn up? It'd be a bit pointless, really, would it? You know,
that would be quite.
It's all right for them. They got 3 people. They just carry. I'll just be going. Oh, Jake's not here. Maybe I could do.
Yeah.
So over to you, Jake. Yeah, well, this week I picked this song because of the ribbons of sound and various other metaphors and similes. What do you think of that? And I'll be going, Yeah, that's really great, Jake. Thanks a lot, mate. I just like this one because it's really loud. So,
Oh, good God, man. You're weird.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So,
Good.
oh dear.
Good. That was fun.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, yeah. Yes, so that was that good.
No worries.
I could carry on forever. But we
I'm
won't,
sure you would, yes.
Because most people are turned off by now going, fucking hell, do
And
they
they
ever
go
shut
on.
up?
Well,
Jesus
goodbye then,
Christ.
everybody. Until next time.
Yes, we'll see you soon. I think we're probably doing 1982 next, just for shits and giggles.
Maybe so.
Do you concur?
Yeah, we can do. Yeah, we can do.
Okay, so 1982. That's something to look forward to for everyone.
For everybody that was at least born back then.
Yeah,
who
so,
knows something of it.
just be loads of shit punk again. Anyway, yes. So
Yeah.
we'll see you all soon.
Okay,
Au
bye-bye.
revoir.